Let's talk about the illusion, the edited highlight reel we keep calling the good old days. We say those were the days, but were they? Or have we quietly, unconsciously filtered the past so that it becomes easier to hold than the weight of the present? Because the truth is, we don't remember the past as it was. We remember it as it felt, in contrast to now. We remember its color, its scent, its rhythm, but we forget the confusion, the overthinking, the self-doubt that came with it. The past is easier to love because it's finished. It's sealed, done. There's no pressure to fix it, no urgency to get it right anymore. And that completion, that distance, gives it its glow. It's like watching a sunset in your memory. You don't remember the heat, the sweat, you just remember the orange sky and how alive you felt for no particular reason. And this is important. Even pain in memory feels cleaner than the mess of your present. Let me explain. You can look back on heartbreak or failure or loss and still feel a kind of nostalgia for that version of you. Why? Because there is a story now, a shape, an ending. And even if it hurt, at least it makes sense in hindsight. But the present has no arc yet. It's just an endless middle, unfinished, unresolved. So it's not that the past was golden, it's that memory lets us smooth out the rough edges. It edits, it frames, it filters the way Instagram filters skin. What we call better times might just be less exposed times. Times where we weren't aware of how complex life is. That's why childhood feels so magical, because someone else was doing the worrying for you. And when the present starts to feel heavy, we instinctively scroll back, not just through old photos, but through old selves. We visit older versions of ourselves, hoping to feel whole again. But what if we are not really looking for the past? We are just looking for relief from now. What if nostalgia isn't love, but escape? That brings us to something deeper. If the past feels like home, it's worth asking, what is it about the present that feels like a stranger? Because to understand why we romanticize the past, we need to understand what the present is failing to give us. So why do we keep returning to the past? Why do we revisit old songs, old chats, old photos as if something important was left behind? It's not just sentiment, it's survival. Because when the present feels unstable, when the now feels overwhelming, unclear, or empty, our memory steps in to soothe us. It gives us something to hold, something we already understand, a version of life where we know how things turned out. This is nostalgia, but it's not just a feeling. I think it's a coping mechanism, a quiet one, but powerful. When today feels out of control, yesterday becomes a shelter, a place with walls, and we crawl inside not because we miss it, but because it's predictable. And that predictability becomes peace, because in memory, even pain feels understandable. In memory, you know where it goes. You know how it shaped you. You can say, I survived that, I grew from that. But the present, there's no clarity yet, no shape, just the fog of becoming. And fog is terrifying when you don't trust your own steps. So we reach for comfort, and nostalgia delivers. But here's the risk. Nostalgia gives relief, but it also robs momentum. When we use the past to comfort ourselves, occasionally it heals, but when we use it to avoid the now, it traps. Because no matter how warm it feels, you can't build anything there. You can't act in the past, you can only relive. That's why some people feel like they are standing still, even when their life is moving forward, because emotionally they are still living somewhere else. A time, a place, a version of themselves that no longer exists. It's like walking forward while staring backward. Eventually, you drift. You lose the ability to be present at all. So, what do we do now? We don't attack nostalgia, we don't deny it. We just start asking, what is the present missing that makes the past so attractive? What is the now failing to give you? Because that question leads us into the heart of this whole thing. It's not about memory, it's about how we experience the present. Why do we always feel like we are somewhere else? A little behind, a little ahead, but never quite here. You wake up already chasing something. You scroll before you breathe. You measure your worth by your to-do list. You speak but rarely feel heard. You listen but rarely feel connected. And in the middle of all this noise, you don't even remember what it means to feel still. You see, the present is undefined, unresolved, uncomfortable. It doesn't give you a clean story, it gives you questions. And we have been conditioned to fear anything that doesn't come with an answer. We want clarity, we want shape, we want to know what this moment means. But life doesn't give you that up front. The present moment, the now, isn't framed like a memory. It's a raw, unedited stream. No narrator, no music, no conclusion, just you and your thoughts and the uncertainty of what this moment might become. Instead of being with it, we run. We scroll, we plan, we fantasize, we relive, anything but just being here. Because here, in this very moment, you are exposed, you are not finished, you are not certain, you are becoming. And becoming is uncomfortable. That's why people run to the past. That's why they rush into the future. Because the present doesn't offer control, it only offers truth. And most of us would rather stay distracted than sit with a truth we don't yet understand. But here's the irony. The very thing we are avoiding, this messy, quiet, uncomfortable now, is the only place life is actually happening. Not in memory, not in fantasy, right here, right now. But what if, even after recognizing this, even after understanding everything, you still can't connect with the now? You look around and feel like a stranger in your own life. You try to connect, but conversations stay shallow. You try to speak honestly, but it's met with confusion, awkwardness, or silence. You feel awake in a world that seems to be sleepwalking, and you wonder, is it me? And let me tell you, no, it's not you. It's the world you are in. Most people are moving too fast to hear themselves think, let alone hear you. Most people are reacting, not reflecting, filling silence, avoiding stillness, not because they are bad, but because they are afraid. And when you try to be present in that world, to speak from your center instead of your mask, you will often be misunderstood. You will feel unseen, and if that's where you are right now, let it be what it is. See, this is important. You are not giving up, you are just stopping the chase. You're not going to distort yourself just to be understood by people who aren't even listening. You're not going to dilute your presence just to avoid standing alone in a room full of noise. You're not bitter, you're not dramatic, you're just clear. So if your honesty feels too much for the room, let it. If your presence feels strange to others, let it. This isn't arrogance, this is peace. Because once you stop trying to be mirrored by people who are lost in their own storm, you get to be free. And yes, that might mean some days feel lonely, that might mean your people are rare, but it also means you are no longer molding yourself to be palatable. You are real, even if few recognize it. And that clarity, that's not isolation, that's liberation. Let's be real, you're not going to stop feeling nostalgic. You're not going to suddenly feel like you belong in every room you enter. And the present won't magically become meaningful just because you understand it better. But here's the thing, you don't need to force meaning, you just need to create space for it. And space begins with simple human practices. You have to create new moments on purpose. Don't wait for life to feel poetic again. Make time for it. A long walk without your phone, cooking without a podcast playing, writing something just for yourself. Tiny things, but over time, they give your present life new emotional texture. And that's what nostalgia is made of. The moments you'll miss later are the ones you ignored today. Try to reduce passive consumption of memory. It's tempting to scroll old chats, to replay the same song from 2012, to watch the same show again and again, and that's okay sometimes, but don't make it your emotional home. Instead, add quiet moments to your day. Not filled, not stimulated, just quiet. Boring at first, but that silence becomes depth eventually. Right now, you are living a chapter you'll look back on someday. And the only difference between nostalgia and now is that one has already ended. The present is just as beautiful, just as full of potential. Live it without needing it to make sense yet. And someday you'll see this moment mattered more than you realized. Let people stay distracted if they need to. Let others romanticize timelines you have outgrown. But you get to be awake. Not perfectly, not all the time, but enough to know that you are alive here, now. And that is enough. You don't have to run back to the past, And you don't have to force the present to be profound. You just have to be honest about where you are, what you feel, and what you are no longer willing to pretend.